Welcome to Undisclosed Voices of Black Girls.
The podcast.
Ooh, this is our first podcast, like recording, I guess. And I guess we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Leah. I'm a third year at Derby University studying criminal psychology. I'm originally from Hertfordshire. So yeah.
And I'm Brooklyn, also a third year student at Derby studying criminal psychology. And I'm from Leicester. Yay.
The podcast is more about like, I don't know, we're gonna dive into like criminal kind of topics. We do criminal psychology, so it's helpful.
Yeah.
And yeah, today we're gonna look at factors that lead people to crime. We've come up with 3 factors and we'll just discuss them.
So, one of the factors that we've thought is a predictor in crime is friends and peer pressure.
100%.
So these can be your childhood friends, your friends that you meet at school, through college. These are the type of people that are going to have the biggest influence on your life because you're around them for the majority of the time. If they're doing bad things, there's a higher possibility that you're going to be doing bad things.
You experienced it personally?
Have I experienced it personally? See, I'm the type of person, I don't really feel like I get peer pressured into doing things that I don't want to do. You know, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. The friends that I had at school when I first started, like between year 7 and year 9, we were all quite naughty, if that's the way you're going to say it.
So, yeah, but did that affect your behaviour?
Being friends with them?
Yeah.
To an extent, because these weren't people that were in my classes.
Okay.
So I had no classes with these people. It was mainly like lunches and break times. People that I was with them. You know, they get into a fight. I'm in the fight. They argue. I argue. But within class-wise, they didn't affect me because they wasn't in my classes. I was just had a lot to say. What about you?
I don't know. I don't think I have. I'm a very stubborn person. So if I think I'm right, I am right. You know, you're not gonna tell me what to do, where to go kind of thing. But even then, I was too scared of my mum to be doing anything mad. Not gonna lie. They couldn't. I was more scared of her. So...
Yeah, so from previous research, I found that among the youth, peer pressure and conformity were some of the contributing factors to deviant and antisocial behaviour. This was a study by Alan and Susan Roger. So...
They just said that it contributes?
Yeah.
How much do you think it actually contributes, though?
Me, personally, I think if you want to be bad, you're going to be bad. It's just an excuse. Oh, my friends did it, so no, you did it because you wanted to.
Because you have a head on your shoulders.
Exactly.
So why are you turn about?
If you can't make that decision for yourself, something wrong. Maybe you need new friends. Maybe you need to have a sit down chat with yourself. I don't know. But you shouldn't be influenced by your friends. You shouldn't be peer pressured into criminal behaviour. But that's how we're both females. So
you think boys it's worse? I think it is actually. I think it is. They like each other too much. Boys like men. They love a peas and other men. So if some guy had like a friend and he goes, "Yeah, my man, come."
No questions asked.
Exactly.
You know,
it's actually baffling. How do they do that?
I don't know. Why? Why do you do this?
Okay. I found a study by Rockvan, and he looked at and others, looked at how friends' involvement in crime influences like others around them. So he used people from age 16 to 45 and found like living in close proximity, so like near like the neighborhood of delinquent friends increases people's risk of offending. Daily interaction apparently also helps this, and it showed that the more interaction someone had with delinquent friends, it decreased their risk of victimization, so they're less likely to become a victim, kind of thing.
And more the offender.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, it makes sense.
Do you have any experience where, you know, guys getting themselves into trouble because of their friends?
Yeah, I didn't. Do I? I'm not sure. Do you?
I want to say yes, but at the same time, I don't want to be atting anybody.
Are you sure? You can't even like describe it like vaguely?
I mean, you got the bad boy at school, all the friends that want to be like him, they get themselves into trouble, they'll start doing everything that friend is doing.
I think, I don't know. Do you think it's different? Say if you were black kid, say you're a black kid, do you feel like peer pressure, say you're surrounded with friends same race as you and then friends outside your race, do you think that would be different? Do you think they have different influence?
That's interesting that you would say that, because the friends that I was talking about that I had between year 7 and 9, the ones that I was not in class with but outside of class, so in like lunches and breaks, we were all black. And then the white friend that I did have was the one that kind of was like, come on Brooklyn, like get yourself into trouble.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that I'm like, oh yes, okay, I'll stop. But she was the one that was thinking more for me, whereas my other friends, not to say that they didn't care, but
yeah,
I didn't get that talk from them.
To be honest, I don't know. I've never really been I've never really been into peer pressure. Like, it's not easy for me to conform to it but I think, I don't know, black friend group and the white friend group, I don't think it really matters. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it doesn't matter.
Do you think like proximity has something to do with it, like how close you are to bad friends?
Yeah, because people always say, oh, but we've been friends for so long, I've known them for so long, I couldn't do that. Then so because you've known them for so many amount of years, you're going to continue doing the bad stuff. That
now, I don't know, our generation, yeah, I don't feel they're more inclined to do things for their friends. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't commit a crime just because your friend told you. I don't feel like we do that, or this generation would. Whereas, like, you know, like older generations where they've like been friends for time, like literally years, they've grown up literally together. So I feel like there's a big difference. I think it depends on age sometimes.
That's true. But then what about gang behavior? You know, he did something to my boy, so when I see him, I've got to get him.
Yeah, but men, literally, I don't understand.
What's that all about?
I don't know. I feel like obviously it's peer pressure. Friends, I don't know. Like, are you necessarily friends with whoever brought you into this kind of thing?
That's true.
But but I feel like there's a lot more going on behind it, like socioeconomically, like looking at where gangs would normally be, it would be like in a poorer region, no? You know what I mean? So I feel that it's not just peer pressure that's making them into that lifestyle.
Yeah. See, as I was saying before, how I was at school, my father was very strict with me. So although, yes, I did get into trouble, I wasn't allowed, like, that wasn't allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I would also get in trouble for getting in trouble at school. Whereas you had the students, like some of my other friends, not to say that their behaviour was praised, but their parents did not care. Not to say that they didn't care, but
They weren't like as strict.
Yeah. So they could get away with going on the way they did.
Yeah.
And not have to come home and hear anything or feel anything.
Because I used to, well, not even, yeah. I wasn't even a bad kid in school, but still, I was so scared of my mom. So scared. I would never act up. I wouldn't do anything. Like, it got to the point where I was in sixth form, and in sixth form, I was acting out. But still, I was acting out, and I was petrified for, like, what was it? Parents' evening.
No. See, parents' evening, I wasn't really bothered for because they can't hit me in front of the teacher.
My mum would. She would.
Mine was when I knew I'd got in trouble at school. And I just knew that I'd get here when there'd be a phone call. All day I'm thinking about it. On the bus I'm thinking about it. On my walk home I'm thinking about it. Like.
Okay, right. Do you think that friends / peer pressure plays a bit? Do you think it's a big factor?
No.
That leads people to crime?
I think it's your own person. I don't feel like your friends should have such an influence on you that you become a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
No. And that's weird that you should say that, because a study by Hayes and O'Reilly found that young offenders tend to externalize rather than internalize. So these are young offenders. So an externalizer is an inmate who does not accept responsibility for his or her criminal actions or behaviors, but rather rationalizes it. So they find excuses or make external attributions and blames others, which is why you get them like, oh, but if I didn't hang around with them people, then I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But no, I don't feel like they play the biggest factor.
No, neither do I. I'm not gonna lie. Realistically, I don't know. I feel like it's different between like little small crimes. I don't know what you'd even call a small crime, but let's
stealing came up quite often in the studies that I found. They're like the crimes that young offenders get into
trouble for.
Yeah. At a young age, where they could be pressured by their friends.
See, I feel like that would, not to say to do it, but it'd be easier to pressure someone into that rather than, oh, let's kill someone. That's a bit deep.
Yeah. So maybe there's not much research on the larger crimes.
Yeah, I found that too. I'm not gonna lie. Are we moving on to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, next factor is the lack of education in crime. I found the Prison Reform Trust revealed that more than half, 51%, of the number of people entering prison have literary skills of an 11-year-old, which is literally doing your SATs.
Yep. You know what? That's a study that I came across as well, because they also reported that 42% of prisoners have a history of being permanently excluded from school, and 1 in 5 children in custody have learning difficulties.
You know what, though? I don't know. I feel like there's a difference between lack of education and not being able to get a good one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you don't necessarily... You could have that... level, like literacy level of 11, but like you can go into trades or something else that doesn't require you to sit and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think just the lack of education would put a specific person at like a disadvantage.
It's the teachers and the way they just can't be bothered to deal with certain children. Instead of sitting down with the child and finding out why they act up, they just want to kick them out of the class. I've seen it. I witnessed it. They can't be bothered. They know that this child has a reputation for acting up in class. So they'll just get at them until the child explodes. And then, get out.
It's very strange. They're not very good at that.
And when I speak of these children, I'm talking Black children in particular, because there was a lot of non-Black students that managed to go from year 7 to 11 fine without getting excluded, and they were bad, so bad, but the Black kid gets kicked out in year 9 for the same thing that a white student did.
I think, I don't know. I feel like when talking about lack of education, if you're white, I feel like it would be so much easier. This is who I was talking about before. Like you could go in with these literacy skills of an 11-year-old and still get a job.
That's true.
But like if you were black or some other person of color, like I feel like it would be so much harder because there's so many like negative connotations that come with our race. For whatever, no fault by us, you know what I mean? But you have to be like top of the top if you want to do well, especially in our community, because they don't want to see you succeed. They really don't. And while like being black in school is awful, it is awful. I found, you know, the Insta, the UK isn't innocent, their page.
Yeah.
Basically, they said in the academic year of 2017 to 2018, 5.5 of white students were temporarily excluded, while 10.5% of Black Caribbean students were temporarily excluded. However, the Black Caribbean only makes up 16% of the entire school population, while the 5.5% of white students that were kicked out, but they probably make up the majority. Which doesn't really make sense, but...
No. Coming to the point of where you were saying that, you know, white students or young white people, they can still have a literacy age of an 11-year-old and still get into jobs. That job would be like trading, you know, building. I feel like as black students and young black children, not only are their parents also want them to do well. So they drop out of school and then, oh yeah, mom, I'm going to be a trader. And I go paint some houses. I feel like their parents as well play a huge part. You know, their parents want them to do. Their parents don't want them to come out of school and become a builder. They want them to go into further education or become a doctor, a lawyer, be the best of the best.
For real, especially in an African household. Oh my god, they don't take. If you do arts, they don't take it seriously. They don't take it seriously.
If you haven't already guessed, she is half African. I'm Caribbean. She's also half Caribbean as well. So she has the best of both worlds.
Is it?
How was it growing up?
What? My mum is very about education. Like literally, like to be fair, she came here. When she came here, she was early 20s, maybe no, late 20s, early 30s. She came over like nothing, and maybe £500. So I understand why she's about it because when she came, she still had the qualifications and everything, but she wasn't top of the top. Like she had to work and she was studying for so long to try and get there and get where she is now. Hence, she feels like education is the only thing that can get you there because they will literally see you and just see a small black girl and they'll take advantage.
Yeah.
So she was like, unless they can see anything in here, they're really not going to hire you kind of thing. What about you?
I think my dad, he was definitely, you know, you need to go to uni, you need to get good grades. Whereas my mum, I don't think she wasn't really that bothered. But I wanted to get the grades anyway, even though I didn't act like it. During secondary school, I didn't care. When I was retaking my GCSEs, do you know what it was? It was because I didn't enjoy school. So I didn't put the effort in. I didn't care. When it came to my exams, I didn't care. And then when I was retaking, I did 1 year at another college to retake some GCSEs and to gain more qualifications so I could get into college. That's when I like buckled down, did the work, came out of good grades. So I am capable if I like it. Because then at college, oh my gosh, I did health and social care.
Yeah.
The longest 2 years of my life. I did not. Like we had some modules, like we did a counselling module and a psychology module. Loved that. Fine. But the rest, no. So I started to like slack, like, can't be bothered. I still got into uni. Here I am. First year of uni, loved it. Second year of uni, hated it.
Here we are, third year.
Waiting.
Just on the verge to hate it. But did you think that, I don't know, that what do you think like makes an education? Like, do you think this the teachers, the subjects you pick? Because I'm not being funny. Even though when I was in school, I still hated school. Like, some of the like lessons were okay, but at the same time, the teachers really put me off, especially with their stupid microaggression. Stop it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, you can have a bad subject, but the teacher can make, you know, let's say religious studies, for example. I wouldn't say that I was a religious person, so why would I care about RE? However, I always had the best grades. And that was because of the teacher and the way she taught. Like, I enjoyed going to her lessons. Whereas art, I was good at it, but I didn't like the teacher. It wasn't interesting to me. The way he taught was not interesting. Like, no. So I think it's all down to the teacher. If the teacher makes you want to engage, you're going to engage. Teachers take the time to put in effort for students, then it helps a lot. It goes a long way.
I feel the same. Because I had some teachers that would literally make me hate the subject. And then I wouldn't even... But thing is, they didn't do it, like, on purpose. They just had, like, implicit biases kind of thing. And then it kind of... I saw the racism, but I went to a majority white school. So I was the only one that saw it.
Yeah.
And as soon as you bring it up, you're crazy. And then it makes your school spirits awful. And then... It's not to say that would then give me a lack of education, but at the same time, it's not helping me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I still feel like education-wise, it would be easier for a white person to come out with an education and still get a job. And I feel like job stability also contributes to crime. Like, if you don't have one, then how are you going to pay your bills? How you gonna afford a house? How you gonna do this? How food?
That's true.
Exactly. I'd still. I would. At this point.
That's true. And that's the thing at school. As soon as you get kicked out, it's just a downhill spiral from there. No other school wants you. They send you to a naughty school, and they act like they're the police. They want to be restraining kids and putting them into separate rooms. How is that helping? How is that benefiting? How is that giving them an opportunity to get better or to get an education? Like, during my second year of college, I volunteered at I don't know what to call it. It was like an education centre for naughty kids. So not kids that have been kicked out of school and cannot go back to school.
Okay.
And some of them had done some, well, very bad. But this place, it allowed them to get the qualifications. You know, they did like little exams and courses to help them get into college. Why? We need more of them. But at the same time, a lot of the students that were there didn't care. They did not care. Did not care about going to college, did not care about going to uni. Majority of the students were white. They had some that were like mixed. So, I feel like their parents also didn't care. You could just tell that this was like the beginning of their criminal activity. Yeah. They didn't want to change. Why should they?
Last topic is growing up without a dad and how that is a contribution to factors that lead people to crime.
And not just growing up without a dad, but even two-parent households that aren't necessarily beneficial to you. You know, you have house that got a mum and a dad, but they're not doing anything for the child. And there's actually a study that, when I find it, So, a study by Lawrence Mundia showed that most of the crimes in the study were committed by inmates with married parents, and convicts with divorced and single parents committed the second and third highest numbers of crimes. So, to me, this suggests that it's not the type of marital status that matters, but the parenting skills and the strategies used. Like, someone can grow up without a dad and they still come out with top grades. And then you get the two-parent household, which is supposed to be like the ideal world for a child to be growing up in, and they're still not getting everything that they should be.
That's true. That is very true. What do you think? I don't know. I don't feel like growing up without a dad, I feel is emotionally stressful, of course. Physically stressful. All of it. I haven't experienced it, so I don't know. But I feel like it is a disadvantage at the same time. Because that's a lot of stress that wasn't needed in the household and then around the kids growing up. Like, it says here, it gives us 10 outcomes that might be due to, that have been researched about living without a dad. Outcomes such as perceived abandonment, attachment issues, child abuse, child obesity, criminal justice involvement, gang involvement, mental health issues, poor school performance, poverty and homelessness, and substance use are all due to like, all could be outcomes of like not growing up without dad. Without growing up without it. Wow.
Growing up without a dad.
That's the one.
Got there in the end.
But yeah, I don't...
See, what's funny about that is if say the child has grew up without a dad their whole life and they've been fine, and then it's as soon as they get to secondary school and they're around other children who have the mum and the dad, that's when the criminal activity starts. But you was fine before.
Yeah.
Like, is it that they've held in this trauma this whole time and something's triggered this? Or do they use the fact that they've grew up without a dad as an excuse?
There's the tea. I don't know. I feel like therapy is good for everyone, but I feel like people that can speak about their emotions a lot more freely are, less, because that study said that growing up without a dad may lead to mental issues. I feel like therapy and talking to people, the people that I talk to that have grown up without a dad, they're kind of emotionally articulate. So like, say, especially men, they bottle up all of this stuff inside kind of thing. And then they, rather than say anything, they act it out. And that could be criminal related, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whereas he was a lot more, he knew how he felt about it, how it made him feel, and like how that has affected him, and therefore didn't act out kind of thing. He thought about it and went through it like emotionally, spoke to someone kind of thing.
So you'd say that young people that are able to talk about their feelings and talk about their issues are less inclined to
because
become criminals,
like
or
I
engage in
said,
criminal activity.
If I don't know, if you don't grow up with a dad but you live with people who don't have dads anyways, you're more time to think you're fine, no? Because that is the normal. As soon as you find out that you're not normal, that's when and then it's the abandonment issue. Why did he leave kind of thing? Whereas if you didn't know all of that, you probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because you thought you were normal. So I feel like when you not get over, but when you talk about and acknowledge it, yeah, I don't know if it's that much of a big factor.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any experience of it, but again, from before, how people rationalize and externalize, I feel like this is a factor that is externalized and is probably used as an excuse. I understand you're probably going to have some issues.
So a rating out of them, like all the factors we spoke about. So growing up without a dad. What was the first one? Or the second one?
Lack of education, friends, peer pressure.
Okay. So say one was the biggest factor and the third one is not acknowledge isn't the word, but the factor that's the worst explaining things that lead to crime, I guess.
Well, according to a majority of the research, it tends to be based on... Whoa, I read the wrong bit. So, the two broad and most relevant variables in predicting reoffending and recidivisms were prisoner education level and parents' marital status.
That's very mad because we were thinking it wouldn't be that. Oh, the education one makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know, marital status.
So again, and considering majority, the highest crimes were people of two parent households, you know, the family predictors included negative parental strategies, coerciveness, I'm not going to go there, lack of child supervision, family violence, poor communication. All of these had an effect on whether these children would grow up to be criminals.
Whoa. Yeah.
Whereas growing up without a dad wasn't. So, but for me personally, I say the one that has the most effect is lack of education.
100%. 100%. I don't think the other two don't really compare because I don't know, if you've got a good parent at the start anyways, you should be fine.
That's true. Again, with how we was talking about friends and peer pressure, you can have bad friends but good parents. You know, if you have the strict parents at home, it's highly unlikely that you're going to continue the criminal activity. Unless you're a boy, Jakes. But I had a girl in my year and she had a younger brother. The girl in my, she was fine, always had her work. Her younger brother now, why was she okay and he wasn't? And considering they had strict parents, he still went on with the way he did.
Well, if he's African, traditionally in Africa, the boys get a free pass just to do what they want. I'm not joking. It's always, oh, Leah, go cook, go clean. But like your cousins, they'll just vibe. Why are they vibing? Because
they were African as well.
I can't. Yeah. But a lot of pressure is always put on the girls. 100%. But I think this would probably go, if we had to rate it.
Yeah, what we're putting as the highest and what we're putting as the lowest. My highest is lack of education.
Yeah. And then after that, I wouldn't even say...
I don't know with the other two which way to go because... friends and peer pressure, that's my bottom one. Yeah. Because you can't be letting your friends run you.
Honestly, no just way. Bounce out of the friend group. And then, yeah.
So the middle
is
growing up with that dad.